Who is y'all to tell me what he diagnosed with and what he look like, what he sound like? Y'all don't know nothing about God, and y'all don't know nothing about nothing. You talking to me like that, so I rebuke everything y'all saying about my child.
Drank and smoked while they was pregnant. That's why they're so angry. Cause who the fuck is angry? You supposed to be angry at a that did this. Not that's the reason why you don't find it to be angry is because you did it. I can't even tell you what my mind wanted to do to you once I looked in his face and I didn't know if he was looking at me, you, or the air. I was hurt genuinely.
Hold up, because the Blueface and Chrisean Rock drama just hit a whole new level of shocking. You thought you'd seen it all? Nah, buckle up. Blueface's own mother, Carissa, has just stepped into the ring with accusations that are shaking the internet. And they are aimed squarely at Chrisean and baby Jr. Carissa is claiming what many fans have been whispering about for months, that there might be something seriously wrong with baby Jr.'s health, and that Chrisean has been desperately trying to hide it. Now, let's be real. Eagle-eyed viewers have been spotting things for a minute now. Something just didn't seem quite right with Jr., and the online detectives were on it, noticing subtle signs that sparked concern. Every time someone dared to ask questions, Chrisean went on the attack, firing back with accusations of hate, negativity, and demanding everyone stay out of her business. Even Blueface reportedly tried to voice his worries a couple of times, but Chrisean shut him down cold, refusing to even entertain the possibility. But now, things have shifted dramatically. It seems even Carissa has reached her breaking point with the secrecy and the silence. She's just dropped a bomb, allegedly leaking what she claims are actual medical records concerning her own grandson. And if what she's saying is true, the diagnosis is absolutely heartbreaking. So the question on everyone's mind is, what exactly did Carissa expose? Did she finally prove that Chrisean has been hiding something major about Junior's health? And why would Chrisean fight so hard against anyone who seemed to want to help? Let's get into this roller coaster of revelations, because this story, it's a wild one.
Seeing them, I never seen them whoop before. I never seen what they saw. I literally thought this whole time that maybe people's fans was doing something to the pictures or, making it not. I didn't believe it the whole time. I just was like, nah, John said there was a couple things going on, but he didn't say it was to that. I saw him in that restaurant. It crushed me. And for her to say she wanted to stomp me out, girl, I can't even tell you what my mind wanted to do to you once I looked in his face and I didn't know if he was looking at me, you, or the air. I was hurt, genuinely hurt. But you know what I said? You know what? That's okay. That's okay. If he can laugh and he can cry and he can smile, he can still be a joy.
Look, let's not pretend for a second that Blueface's mom, Carissa, has ever been Team Chrisean. These two have been locked in a feud practically since day one. But even with their history of bad blood, nobody, and I mean nobody, expected Carissa to go this far. The things she's been saying online, some are starting to feel like she's not just throwing shade at Chrisean anymore. Some are saying it's like she's casting a shadow over baby Jr. himself. Just recently, Carissa went live and started talking about the very first time she met her grandson, Jr. And what came out of her mouth? People were floored. She straight up claimed she could tell instantly just by being around him that something wasn't right. Carissa didn't hold back either. She got into detail, describing how little Jr. didn't react to sounds, how he wouldn't make eye contact, and mentioned certain behaviors that, in her opinion, screamed that he needed help, and fast. Then she claims she actually said something about it, but according to Carissa, Chrisean brushed her off like she was completely out of line. Carissa says she even suggested maybe getting the baby checked out, exploring early intervention services, the works. But Chrisean wasn't having any of it. Carissa alleges that Chrisean insisted Jr. was perfectly healthy and that everyone else was just projecting negativity onto her child. But Carissa isn't letting it go this time. And this time, she claims she's got receipts, paperwork, allegedly medical documents, that she supposedly posted online, claiming Jr. has been officially diagnosed with a developmental delay. She even went as far as to say the documents included recommendations for early intervention services, services that Carissa claims Chrisean has been flat out ignoring. Now, whether these documents are the real deal, that's still up in the air. But if any of this is true, it paints a totally different and honestly heartbreaking picture. One where a baby, a defenseless child, might not be getting the crucial support he desperately needs, and potentially, all because his own mother is too busy battling critics and shutting down concerns instead of seeking out real, tangible help.
It don't matter. It wouldn't matter to me at all, one bit. He will be around this mother in a chair that sits him up. I will go buy the best stuff for him. I will go buy the best chair that sits him up. I will be calling India and France and Rome, trying to figure out what machine we can get to work what. We will be chopping that.
But Carissa, in a move that's either calculated or genuinely caring, didn't stop at just raising alarms about what she perceived as Junior's condition. She went a step further, dramatically declaring that she was ready to step up, ready to love that baby unconditionally, no matter what. She boldly claimed she wanted to be the grandmother Junior needed, to be there for him, even if he needed extra help, extra support, more than the average baby. Now, is this genuine concern from a grandmother, finally putting family first? Or is it another strategic play in the ongoing saga between her and Chrisean? Is she really trying to help Junior, or is this just another way to publicly undermine Chrisean's parenting and make herself look like the responsible one? It's hard to say for sure, but the timing, the public nature of it all, definitely raises some eyebrows. You gotta wonder, what's the real motivation behind Carissa's sudden outpouring of grandmotherly concern? Is it love for Junior or something else entirely?
Drank and smoked while they was pregnant. That's why they're so angry. Because who the fuck is angry? You supposed to be angry at a that did this. Not, that's the reason why you don't find it to be angry is because you did it. Then y'all want to hop on here I'm talking about my grandbaby. No, I'm talking about the trifling mammy.
Of course, Chrisean, never one to back down from a fight, wasn't about to let Carissa's accusations slide. As soon as that first video hit the internet, Chrisean came back swinging, and she swung hard. She went online, firing back at Carissa, calling her bitter, accusing her of just being a hater, of trying to tear her down for clout, for internet attention. But that counterattack? It seemed to backfire spectacularly. It only fueled Carissa even more. Because almost immediately, Carissa hopped right back online, going live again, and this time she dropped a bombshell that was even more explosive than the first. She started directly accusing Chrisean, suggesting, even implying that Chrisean herself might be the reason, the direct cause of Junior's alleged developmental delays in the first place. Allegedly, of course, but the implication was clear, and it hung heavy in the air.
I woke up today knowing I don't want a child no more. I don't want no fucking kid no more. I don't think I want to be
We're having a
Blueface
baby.
girlfriend.
Get yourself together.
Where the bottle at?
Oh my gosh.
Drink it.
She asked for another bottle. I'm just gonna...
no liquor? Yes, I can. I can abort the child tomorrow. It won't hurt me.
He should do it because it's cold.
And let's just say that accusation, that direct link to Chrisean's actions, only poured gasoline on an already raging fire. Because for a long time now, whispers, hushed rumors have been circulating among fans, quiet conversations about the possibility, the fear, that Junior might have been born with fetal alcohol syndrome. Nobody wants to jump to conclusions, nobody wants to judge, but the signs, the observations people have been pointing out, they just keep adding up, and they're getting harder and harder to ignore. Now let's keep this respectful, we have to be careful here, but let's also be real. Chrisean's own behavior during her pregnancy, it raised red flags from the very beginning. She was seen multiple times in public on social media, drinking, smoking, partying, even while visibly pregnant. Her own family reportedly stepped in, tried to talk to her, begged her to stop, to think about the baby, to chill out for the sake of her unborn child. But according to sources close to her, she just brushed them off, acted like she didn't want to hear a single word of it. It was like she was living in her own world. Consequences be damned.
So Blueface, you're gonna go to jail, bro. Like, being a free man right now. Like, appreciate the time you got right now, because nigga, you're not finna be roaming the world like you thought you was going to be roaming the world. Like,
Adding another layer to this already complicated story, there were moments during those early months of the pregnancy where it genuinely seemed like Chrisean wasn't even planning to go through with it at all. She herself even made some pretty wild comments during that time, comments that had people seriously wondering if she was considering ending the pregnancy entirely. But then, at some point, something shifted. She changed her mind, decided to keep the baby. But here's the thing, the partying, the lifestyle, that didn't stop. Even Blueface, in one of his characteristic public outbursts, spoke on it. He aired everything out on social media. He claimed point blank that Chrisean was smoking weed, allegedly, right up until she went to the hospital, even on the day she gave birth. He tweeted, and I quote, "You smoked a blunt on the way to the hospital. You was finna do a concert while in labor. You smoked your way to birth. You don't think I can get the kid for real?" Then he added something that really had people clutching their pearls, something truly shocking. "My son not healthy cause she drank, smoked, and got hit the whole pregnancy. She couldn't even stop for 1 month." Now, that's a heavy accusation. That's serious stuff. And if that wasn't enough to send shockwaves, he also revealed that baby Jr had a hernia that needed surgery. But, according to Blueface, Chrisean allegedly kept delaying the procedure. Instead of handling it privately, like you might expect parents to, Blueface took it straight to the internet, in the most public, most messy way possible. He actually posted a photo of Jr, a photo that many felt should never have been made public, especially not in that context, and wrote, "This what my son D look like, and she worried about me and lil baby. Like, girl, get your son right first, then do what you want." That post, it stunned everyone. Not just because of the deeply personal photo, but because of how raw, how exposed the whole situation had suddenly become. If Jr really did need medical help, if he wasn't getting it, that's a serious, serious issue. And if both parents were so wrapped up in their online arguments, their public feud, instead of focusing on their baby's well-being, then something, clearly, had to give.
In relations with Blue, we were still rough, on and off, whatever. Case may be. Alright, cool. Alright, cool. Right? When they start talking, saying or subliminally saying stuff, or doing an actual interview and start talking, that's different.
But Blueface, in true Blueface fashion, wasn't about to de-escalate. He took it to an even lower level. And not in a good way. He jumped back on Twitter and just made the whole mess 10 times worse when he boldly tweeted, "That's my son. I'll post whatever I want. Who gonna stop me? Squabble up or shut up?" People were horrified. Like what? It didn't take long for Twitter to take that photo down for obvious reasons. But Blueface? He didn't let up. Not even close. He kept going off, unleashing a full-blown rant that had everyone watching, mouths agape. He said things like, "Baby still ain't got that hernia surgery. She lying talking about he healthy. She on here talking about me and my personal life. Fix our son first, then go run behind somebody else." He even told fans directly to tag Chrisean in the post so she couldn't ignore it. Couldn't pretend she didn't see it. He wanted everyone to see it. "Do what you gotta do to make this happen so I can stop being the headline in her life," he tweeted. The man was spiraling and taking it all spectacularly public. Then, things really went left, took a truly nasty turn. Blueface accused Chrisean of some incredibly serious stuff, dropping accusations that were deeply personal and incredibly damaging. He tweeted, "I tried to keep it low-key and private, but this girl keep pushing. Leave me alone. You're a crack baby. She's a bad mom. Yeah, I said it. She ain't focused on the surgery. She been skipping appointments just so she can run the streets." He even claimed he flew all the way to Baltimore, thinking it was finally time for their son's surgery, only to find out that Chrisean allegedly never even showed up for the appointment. That right there had folks raising eyebrows all over again, and for very serious reasons. But Chrisean, predictably, fired back with her own side of the story, and she wasn't about to let Blueface control the narrative, not for a second. She clapped back on Instagram, saying, and I quote, "He knows the surgery is already set with the surgeon. Don't sit here and lie." She insisted she's been going to every single appointment in Baltimore, staying on top of her son's health. She was clearly furious at Blueface trying to paint her as an unfit mother. She shot back, "Now you really trying to get my kid taken away from me, knowing I've been doing everything I can. I need people to seriously back off. I've had enough of the lies. Y'all can't see I'm trying." She didn't stop there either. She brought up Blueface's own legal troubles, reminding everyone he's got a whole probation case hanging over his head. "Worry about that probation officer that's trying to lock you up. I'll be glad when they take your goofy self away," she added with no shortage of venom. At one point, Chrisean even claimed she was planning to press charges against him for exposing their son online. But just like that, it seemed like nothing ever came of it. The online war just continued to rage, leaving baby Jr. caught in the crossfire.
Why are you laughing like
It was right around this chaotic point that fans, the online audience, really started to collectively pause, to take a step back and say, wait a minute, something ain't adding up here. That's when people truly began to notice that something might be genuinely wrong with the baby, and seriously question how Chrisean was handling the entire situation. Slowly, but surely, the same folks who were initially rooting for her, cheering her on, started to flip the script and began calling her out. It's wild how fast the tide of public opinion can turn, how quickly support can morph into side-eye and suspicion. Remember, back when she first dropped the news about being pregnant, everyone was on her side, or at least, a lot of people were, cheering her on like she was finally about to turn a new leaf, leave the drama behind, and embrace a new chapter. But if you know anything about Chrisean, then you know unpredictability is kind of her brand, and her on-again, off-again, endlessly messy relationship with Blueface? It had already devolved into reality TV-level disaster. Their relationship, let's be honest, had been straight-up toxic for years. Back and forth fighting in public, breaking up, making up, rinse and repeat. So when she first announced the baby, many people genuinely thought this could be it. This could be the moment she finally snaps out of the chaos, finally grows up, and glows up for real. And to be fair, at first, it actually looked like she might do it. She was saying all the right things, talking about self-love, about healing, about how she was going to raise little Chrisean Jr. on her own. In one of her most emotionally raw posts, she opened up about the emotional roller coaster she was riding. She said, "When I saw the face of what was growing inside of me, I had to pray the fear away of being a mommy. It's super overwhelming because this pregnancy was planned, but now he don't see a future with me no more." She continued, "We both did things to each other that broke the trust, so I was left with no option but to terminate." Wait, terminate? I was surprised. I was that far along. There was no turning back. I instantly fell in love when I saw the face and heard the heartbeat. So right there, she basically admitted what fans had been suspecting all along, that she was originally planning to terminate the pregnancy. And that's potentially why she kept smoking and drinking like it was no big deal, because in her mind, there wasn't going to be a baby. But once she saw that ultrasound, heard that heartbeat, something shifted in her. Or at least, that's how she framed it. She also shared some really personal, deeply vulnerable thoughts, saying this baby gave her a second chance at life, a way to reset, to heal from everything she'd been through. She wrote, "I had bad thoughts like, I don't want to be rock anymore, I don't want to be famous, I messed up, I should have stayed in school. But then, I had to separate my heartbreak from the biggest thing I ever prayed for." She promised to stop acting on emotion and start focusing on what really mattered. "I'm okay with moving on. I'm okay with letting go of what's not for me. Having a child won't stop me from making money, learning, or loving myself more."
Louisiana chicken pasta. And we got the baby mashed potatoes. Let's pray for the food. Look at his shirt too. Say Jesus.
Oh, that's great.
Baby. That's his name though. That's his middle name.
Jesus?
Yeah.
That's cool. Chrisean Jesus Malone. That's a famous name right there.
We'll be talking, walking, playing football, everything. Who is y'all to tell me what he diagnosed with, what he look like, what he sound like? Y'all don't know nothing about God, and y'all don't know nothing about nothing. You talking to me like that. So I rebuke everything y'all saying about my child, to be honest. But I like this bro.
"I don't need $1 from anyone to raise this child. I'm blessed and highly favored, and that's all that matters right now." Sounds good, right? She even said she was done with Blueface for good, claiming she was finally ready to cut the cord, to break free from the toxic cycle. She said, "Telling him no today was a step, but how do you get rid of a soul tie?" And that's the part that had people watching closely, still skeptical, still wondering if this change was real or just another fleeting moment. Because even after all that talk about healing, about cutting him off, the drama predictably just kept following her. She had a real moment of self-reflection and it hit deep. She said, "I really had to take a step back because still giving a part of me to him is messed up for my son. How am I letting a man who don't even want to be a dad to my only child still have access to me in any way?" You could tell she was battling with herself, heart versus logic. Then she revealed that Blueface actually texted her that day, and she almost fell for the bait again. She admitted, "I almost folded for that nonsense. Like, what am I even doing right now?" That's when the self-awareness seemed to kick in hard. She said, "I'm sitting here looking at my son. Girl, cut this immature stuff out." She wasn't done. She snapped and declared, "Hey, Blue, go bother somebody else. Stop hitting me up, bro. Go find another girl to rub on you and your homies. That's not safe. It's nasty. And you playing a real dangerous game out here." Then she flipped it into a prayer moment, crying out for strength. "God, let me stop wanting this man. Please free me from myself. I need strength to stay focused." And honestly, she was being real, raw, and honest about her struggles. It's tough knowing your child's father don't want to be involved. She admitted, "Instead of dealing with that pain, I settle for less every time." And that's why, when she gave birth, Blueface wasn't even in the room. She straight up said, "I didn't invite him. I went back to my hometown to have my baby. None of these weird folks was going to be around my son. I'm all he has, and I'm going to make sure he's protected from hate, jealousy, or anything else trying to come his way." Then she dropped a beautiful name reveal. "His name is Chrisean, and he will be loved and respected, period." She sounded focused, sounded like she was genuinely turning the page for real. She posted, "I can't wait to show y'all the glow up. New me, new everything. Soon as I heal, I'm flying back to LA to move into my new home. I'm ready for new music, movies, just all blessings. I'm grateful." And listen, fans were clapping for her, like seriously. Folks were rooting for her hard. It finally seemed like she was done with the chaos and about to step into her grown woman era. Sure, some people were still skeptical, whispering she'd never change, but others, they were holding on to hope, believing maybe, just maybe, motherhood had finally calmed her down, grounded her. Sadly, though, that version of Chrisean? It didn't last long. Just a few weeks later, she started acting out all over again. The internet was watching, and it didn't take long before folks began seriously worrying about little Chrisean Jr. The moment things really started getting loud, the moment the alarm bells really started ringing, was during that wild Instagram live she did in January. The one where she was aggressively defending that tattoo, the one she got of Blueface's mugshot on her face. While she was ranting, while she was going off, her son, baby Jr., could be heard crying in the background. And that sound, that cry, it made people pause. Fans said something didn't sound right. The way he cried, the tone of it, the way it lingered, it just didn't sit right with people.
"Janet, why didn't you convince her to help Junior?" I did. My cousin is a specialist. I did the best I could. My cousin works with autistic children. She works one-on-one with all kinds of children. It don't matter if you're autistic, if you're not, if you're a regular children, we offered the help as much as we can. My cousin literally has her BA in all of this. It's when people are in denial of stuff, it's you can't help people when they're in denial of what's actually going on in reality. I get, oh, we're all prayed up, we just have faith, but faith comes with work. You just can't have faith and just sit around and have faith. It's you got to put the work in too. That's how God is going to repay you. If you put the work in, not just gossiping around other people and be oh.
Things really started spiraling downwards when fans spotted something truly concerning in one of her pictures. Something serious, a respirator machine. Yep, in one of her pictures, plain as day in the background, was what looked like a respirator. Then came a video, shortly after, where the baby was crying. And instead of addressing it, instead of comforting him, Chrisean tried to play it off. Tried to act like it was just a laugh, like he was giggling. But viewers, they weren't fooled. They knew that cry didn't sound normal. Didn't sound like a happy baby sound. Something was off, and deep down, people suspected she knew it too. Then people started looking closer, dissecting every clip, scrutinizing Junior's behavior. In multiple videos, he'd just be staring blankly into space, not really tracking objects with his eyes, not reaching out, not interacting with his surroundings the way babies his age typically do. Sure, he could hold his head up, which is a milestone, but the rest, it just wasn't adding up to what folks expected from a child hitting key developmental markers. That's when the serious conversation about a possible visual impairment started picking up real steam, started becoming a widespread concern. And when the comments started rolling in, when people began expressing their worries, Chrisean got defensive, fast, and she got loud. She went live again to vehemently declare that her son was perfectly fine, that there was absolutely nothing wrong with him, and that everyone else was just doing too much, projecting, being negative. But what happened next, Chrisean's reaction, her over-the-top defensiveness, it only served to make even more people concerned, more people suspicious that maybe, just maybe, there was something she wasn't telling them.
Okay. I've been in there for fucking time where it was needed. Oh. Y'all online thinking I'm taking them to fucking babysitter. My job ain't no fucking babysitter, goddammit.
But that's what everybody looked at you at on the internet.
Shit, whatever.
What you here for?
Not about, it's about you. Not trying to make it about this baby, it's about Jonathan today.
Bullshit.
Then came Junior's first birthday. A milestone, a celebration, a moment that should have been joyous and straightforward. But even that event became clouded with worry. Because at the party, it became real, undeniably clear to everyone watching that Junior couldn't walk, couldn't even stand on his own. In the photos, Chrisean is seen propping him up on her legs, cleverly positioning him to make it look like he was standing, like he was hitting that milestone. But people weren't buying it. They saw through the staged photos, through the carefully crafted image. Now listen, not every baby walks exactly at 1 year old, that's true. Development happens at different paces, and there's a range of normal. But given all the other red flags folks had already noticed, all the other subtle signs and worrying behaviors, this just added another heavy weight to the list of concerns, reinforcing the suspicion that something significant was going on. Then, things got even messier, even more complicated, when Janet, a former friend of Chrisean, stepped into the chat, adding her voice to the chorus of concern. She claimed publicly that Chrisean was absolutely in denial about Junior needing help, that she was refusing to acknowledge any potential issues, and that Janet herself had personally tried to step in, to intervene, to get Junior some kind of professional evaluation, some kind of treatment. But according to Janet, Chrisean wasn't having it, shut her down completely, refusing any outside help or assessment. But the real explosion of drama, the point where things truly went nuclear, came when Chrisean had a major falling out with her best friend, Marsh. And guess what it was all about? Junior's health. When Chrisean was locked up, when she was incarcerated, Marsh, being a good friend, stepped up to care for Junior. And while she was looking after him, Marsh allegedly became increasingly concerned about his well-being. She could tell, she says, that something wasn't right. And reportedly, she tried to take him to the hospital, wanting to get him properly checked out, wanting to address her growing worries. But the moment Chrisean found out about this, even while still in jail, she went ballistic. The details of what happened next were revealed in some leaked texts, private messages between Marsh and a friend. In these messages, Marsh explained that Chrisean flipped out, completely lost it. Marsh said, "Chrisean flipped because when she called from jail, I told her I couldn't keep Junior." Apparently, there was a financial agreement involved, promises of payment that weren't being kept. She kept promising me all this money and stuff, but days were going by and my Cash App was still dry. And y'all, Marsh was raising some serious alarms, painting a picture of neglect and desperation. She said Junior had nothing but the clothes on his back, no formula because he can't eat solid food, no blanket, no car seat, no clothes, no bottles, nothing. I bought what I could, but I still have my own child to take care of. It was hard. And if that wasn't heartbreaking enough, Marsh added a detail that really raised red flags. I had my sister babysit so I could go work and make rent money, but my sister noticed he kept spitting up and was going to take him to the hospital. When Chrisean found out, she spazzed on me and sent Smiley to grab Junior from my sister's house. Now tell me, doesn't that sound like someone actively trying to hide something? To make matters worse, Marsh also claimed that Chrisean had been going out of her way, deliberately, to fake like everything was all good, to create a false image of normalcy. She said Chrisean was staging these little photo shoots and videos, carefully curating her social media to make it look like Junior was thriving, perfectly fine, and developing normally. But behind the scenes, Marsh alleges, she wasn't giving that baby what he actually needed. Marsh even confessed that she used to be deeply involved in that Reddit thread, the one that was meticulously exposing Chrisean, documenting every misstep, every questionable action. She admitted to checking it every day, reading what people were saying, and agreeing with a lot of it. And get this, Marsh said Chrisean had notifications turned on for that Reddit thread. Anytime someone posted in there, she'd be the first one to see it. Marsh recounted a specific incident, saying, Marsh was doing her lashes one day, and Chrisean was literally scrolling through Reddit saying, "They saying he can't walk and can't hold himself up. I'm gonna post a picture of him in his walker later." Marsh said she felt she had to keep it real with her friend, saying, "Chrissy, he can't though." But Chrisean's alleged response, "I gotta make them think he can, otherwise they're gonna be saying he messed up because I was drinking, but I wasn't even drinking that much." Woo, Marsh didn't hold back. She straight up said, "She's sick, bro." Now, if you thought that was wild, hold on, there's more. It's being said, it's rumored, that Chrisean has been actively editing pictures of Jr., literally photoshopping his face and body to make him look normal to the public, digitally altering his appearance, just trying to trick fans into believing everything is fine instead of getting him the actual, real-world help he needs. And look, people aren't making this up for fun. There's alleged evidence, observations that fuel these claims. There was a recent public event where she showed up with Jr., and even though he's getting close to 2 years old now, folks who saw him firsthand said he was barely holding his head up. That alone, some argue, should tell you something serious is going on. Yet, despite all these concerns, all these red flags, she's still out here pushing the narrative, maintaining the image that he's perfectly fine, that everything is normal. Which brings us right back to Carissa, Blueface's mama, and her explosive accusations. With everything Carissa has said recently, especially those leaked medical documents, it really feels like she's just publicly confirming what so many people have been thinking, worrying about for a long, long time. Now, before anyone starts giving Carissa too much credit, before anyone hails her as some kind of hero speaking up for the baby, let's not forget the facts. Let's keep it real. When Chrisean got arrested at Blueface's court hearing, Carissa and Blueface's dad were both right there at the courthouse. And when it came time to figure out who would take care of baby Jr., who would step up and look after him while his mother was in jail, neither one of them wanted to do it. They actually, reportedly, argued over who wouldn't take Jr., even though they both knew that their refusal meant he would likely be placed in foster care, even if just temporarily. Like, how do you actively fight not to help your own grandchild, especially when they're in such a vulnerable situation? This whole situation, it's just deeply, deeply heartbreaking and complex. Whether you agree with Carissa's approach or not, whether you believe her motives are pure or self-serving, or whether you believe Chrisean is genuinely trying her best amidst immense challenges, one thing is undeniably clear. This baby, Jr., he didn't ask for any of this. Imagine being born into this level of chaos, with Chrisean as your mom, Blueface as your dad, and Carissa as your grandmother. That's a tough hand to be dealt, right from the start. And at the end of the day, Jr. is the one caught squarely in the middle of all this parental and grandparental drama, all this public mess. He is the one who deserves so much better from every single adult involved in his life. Now it's your turn. I want to know what you, my stars and hushers, think about this whole situation. Do you think Chrisean is genuinely in denial about Jr.'s potential needs, or is she just overwhelmed, struggling to cope under immense pressure? Is Carissa actually exposing the truth, finally being a voice for Jr., or is she just cynically trying to take more jabs at Chrisean, continuing their never-ending feud? And most importantly, stripped of all the drama, all the accusations and counter-accusations, who, in all of this tangled mess, is really looking out for Jr.'s best interests? Drop your thoughts down in the comments below. Smash that like button if you found this deep dive insightful, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next drop, and turn on those notifications so you're always in the loop. I'll catch you in the next one.